Do you want love? Do you want an amazing relationship? Well, listen, stop looking for him. Stop looking for him and start doing these 5 things immediately. My name is Stephan Labossiere, a.k.a. Stephan Speaks, back with another dating and relationship advice video for women. And we're going to be talking about 5 things you need to be doing right now rather than looking for that man you can be with, all right? Or even waiting, hoping for that man to come. Anyways, before we begin, be sure to like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel, and leave your comments below. Now listen, let me make this very clear. Nothing wrong with you wanting a relationship. Nothing wrong with you wanting that great man in your life. Don't deny those desires. Don't reject them. Don't try to act like this it's not important to you. That's not the purpose of this video or this message I'm trying to convey. I simply want you to shift your focus onto things that are going to be much more beneficial for you right now, but yes, will still actually set you up even greater to receive that amazing relationship and that amazing man. So to get right to it, number 1, start finding your purpose. So listen, I have a saying, and it is, if you don't know where you're headed in life, you don't know who belongs on that path with you, all right? So I see a lot of women trying to, again, seek out a relationship or hoping and focusing on relationships, but they're not focusing on finding who they are. They're not focused on discovering their true self, which also lines with or connects with finding their purpose, all right? And so this is a time in your life to be doing that because, again, for some of you, it's in that process or it's in getting to that place that you'll actually meet that guy. But that's not the real focus here. The focus is in you finding your purpose, you can find your peace and happiness, which we're going to talk about more later in this video, but you can find what fulfills you. You can find that value within yourself because it's when we don't have purpose that we start trying to attach ourselves to different things, many times things that do not belong in our life, things that we should not be engaging in, and we make it much more difficult to now get into proper alignment with where God wants us to be. And I want you to understand something. Do not get attached to things that God never told you to engage in. Now, I know that's easier said than done because we've all done it on some level or at some point in our life. But again, I'm going to repeat, do not get attached to things God never told you to engage in. And so to give you a perfect example of how that can happen and how not finding your purpose early on can now create problems for you later in life as well as with relationships. So quick story, I had a client one time and I can't remember the exact field she got into, but let's just say she got into corporate America. She was trying to make a career for herself and she worked her way up to CEO and she was killing it, all right? And she was CEO, I can't remember what city she was in, but she was CEO, let's just say for the sake of the story, in LA, all right? Time goes on and she meets a successful man who happens to live in Milwaukee. Again, I'm just making these cities up. I can't remember the exact story. But this is a true story. Guy lives in Milwaukee, successful man, has it together. They had an amazing connection, all right? But now he wants her to move to Milwaukee so they can be together. But because she's so locked into her career, and let me make it clear, career does not equal purpose. Success doesn't even equal purpose. So there are plenty of people who are successful and not walking in purpose, which is why they still have depression, which is why they are not fulfilled, which is why they're trying to fill that void with all kinds of unhealthy things. Because success and money do not always bring fulfillment and they do not equal purpose. So with that said, this woman was locked into her career because it can become very difficult as a human being, man or woman, to have worked so many years building yourself up in this specific area, whether you belong there or not, to now let all that go and take a leap of faith and move in a different direction. Now, she would have been well taken care of. She had money saved up over years. It's not like she didn't have a cushion that would allow her to take this kind of a chance. But again, emotionally, she was attached to this career. When it was all said and done, she never made the move. They never got together. And in her mind, was how could he expect her to leave her job and all these things? But what's more important to you? That career or that love? And if your purpose was with that man, then you're just undermining that. Now let's talk about that for a second. Because for some of you, and maybe some of you may not like hearing this, but this is just the reality, and I have to be spiritually honest here. Some of you, your purpose is within the man you're going to be with. It is going to be you who will be his multiplier, who will be his magnifier, so to speak. It is when you come together with him. Now, granted, there is a process you have to go through before you get to him. So there's still a purpose process that you have to find, all right, that will lead you to that. But understand that it may not be you doing your own thing, so to speak. It may be you doing something with him, that you two together will create this amazing force, all right? Because another thing that's kind of hitting my spirit, a lot of people have this mentality of, I want to be a power couple. And they think power couple is this woman who's been doing her own thing and this man who's been doing his own thing. And they come together, and together there's this powerful force. But what people don't realize is many of these quote unquote power couples are a facade. There's no balance in the relationship. They're unable to truly come together because they're both attached to what they have going on. So on the surface, it looks great, but emotionally, there is no true connection there. Spiritually, there is no true alignment there. They're not the power couple we should be aiming for. A power couple is two people who, when they come together, make something even greater. All right? And together are able to move in the same direction with each other, not pulling each other apart, not, going away from each other, not being able to pour into each other. No, they're able to come together, pour into each other, make things happen for each other. They're in alignment. That's the kind of power couple we should be striving for. But all that to say that, yes, for some of you, your purpose may be there. But to get back to the point that I was making, when you become so attached to things that you've decided to do in your life, that God never gave you direction to do, you now make it hard to pull away, and this can block you from greater blessings. So you want to take this time to find purpose, take this time to seek direction from God, do what he wants you to do, and not get caught up in what you think you should be doing. And allow yourself to go through that quote unquote purpose process and get into proper alignment. Again, so that you can be happy for you, so that you can have the peace that you need, but it can definitely set you up for that amazing relationship that you desire as well. So let's get to number 2. And number 2 is start finding your peace. All right? So here's the other thing. And again, I'm a coach. I've seen so many different situations. And what I've seen happen is people desiring relationship, people desiring love, but not creating a peaceful environment for themselves first. And so now what happens is, even if you meet a person, you're now bringing them into chaos, all right? They now have to deal with the toxicity of your world that exists, or the unrest of your world that exists, or the fact that you are depleted and drained and worn down with what you have to deal with because you don't have peace. And now they have to deal with a lower version of you. They have to deal with your lesser self, so to speak, all right? And too many people have this mentality of, well, if they really love me, they should be there for me and to support. No, if you really love them, then you'd want to bring them your best self. Now listen, none of us are going to be perfect. We're going to have our moments. However, are you really setting yourself up to bring your best to the table? Or are you expecting someone to just fit and be convenient to your world? So you've got to find and create your peace. That means start to locate the toxic energy in your life. Start to eliminate the distractions and the unnecessary things in your life. Start to create an environment that breeds harmony, peace, love, positivity. So that now when you meet someone, they are coming into a beautiful world, not a damaged, dysfunctional one. And again, it's not even just about you. You've experienced this where you've met a man where that's what he did to you. He expected you to walk into his dysfunctional world and either deal with it or help them fix it. And it's like, yo, what do you mean? We just met. Like, you want me to just fix things? No, you gotta come with your best, or at least try to come with your best, all right? So find your peace. Again, create that environment. Do the things that are necessary. Make the necessary changes, all right? If you have toxic family members, hell, let's focus on addressing that now, because I've seen relationships end because of toxic family members and toxic friends. But if you took the time, as you are now, to nip that in the bud, you won't have to worry about that. So we got to take a preemptive strike on the things that can wreak havoc in relationships. And a lot of times we don't pay attention to the details that cause those problems. So again, evaluate your situation, evaluate your environment, and start to create peace, love, joy. And that will, one, be healthy for you, all right? You will benefit greatly from that. And then, yes, it will not only allow you to attract a healthy relationship, it will not only allow you to now cultivate a healthy relationship, but will allow you to sustain a healthy, amazing, loving relationship. So make the necessary changes and take those steps. Number 3, and before we get to number 3, let me just, as always, get the book, Love After Heartbreak. This book, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later in the video, it gives you the steps to healing. It's actually for men and women, but this video specifically is for women, so that's what I'm talking to right now. But get your copy. It's helping so many people. It's like having coaching sessions without having to pay for coaching sessions, just having the book that's going to walk you through step by step how to flush that negative energy out, how to heal from the past, not just from past relationships and love, childhood, parents, you name it. Love After Heartbreak is going to assist you in that way. So click the link in the description or in the comment section, or you can go to loveafterheartbreak.com. All right. So now number 3. Number 3 is find your happiness. All right. So we're finding ourselves and our purpose. We're finding our peace. But now we have to find our happiness, because the problem is, if you don't find your happiness first, it is very normal to now put the expectations of your happiness on this person. And we put that burden on them. And that isn't fair to them, as it wouldn't be fair to you. Now, yes, in a relationship, we're supposed to be mindful of making each other happy. Yes, we play a role in contributing to each other's happiness, but they cannot be the sole contributor. They cannot be what you depend on only to have happiness. So you've got to now take that time to do that. Because again, if you think I'm going to wait, or you're going to wait to find someone, and then when you find them, you can make all these fixes, that's the wrong way to go. You're more than likely going to undermine yourself or be drawn to or be willing to entertain the wrong person, because you haven't created the peace and the health within you to see things correctly and to be in the right state of mind, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, to embrace the right person. All right. So you've got to do this work now. You cannot wait till later. But finding your happiness, of course, is connected to finding your peace and your purpose, but also do some things you love. And if you don't know what you love, let's start writing it down. Like, here's a homework assignment. I want you to write down at least 3 to 5 things that make you happy. All right? Whatever they are. And if you have a list longer than that, make the list longer. But just try to find at least 3 to 5 things. And then once you recognize those things, now create, not necessarily a schedule, but create a routine that allows you to implement these things. All right? So let's just say nature, being in nature makes you happy. All right, well then maybe we start to create a routine where at least once a week, if not daily, you go outside and walk. You go to a park and just walk. And you make it your day to immerse yourself into nature. If reading a nice book makes you happy and you haven't read one in a long time, all right, let's start making time for that. Whatever it is, identify those things and start creating a plan to implement them. Because what I have found is so many people get so caught up in life that they get distracted, they lose track, and they forget pouring into themselves. And they forget doing the things that put a smile on their face. There are things they enjoy, but they're worried about work, life, kids, whatever. and they're not thinking about them. You're not thinking about you, all right? And what you are going to enjoy, and you need that. You need that balance in your life. So find your happiness, create that, be able to sustain it on your own. And now, again, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to bring forth a much better energy that will attract a better partner and allow you to have a better relationship as well. But even before we get to them, you will be better. You will enjoy your life more. You will benefit greatly from this. Number 4 is start finding your health. All right. So listen, all these things that we're discussing, it can be very hard to live a positive, loving, happy life when we're a wreck from within. All right. And so when I say the word health, I mean health emotionally, physically, and spiritually. All right. So we've got to start to recognize what are the things that are throwing off, hindering, or wreaking havoc on our health from all 3 of those aspects. So from a physical aspect, yes, looking at how you eat. What adjustments can you make? I'm going to throw one thing out there. There's a lot of things to consider, but the one thing I'm going to throw out there right now is looking into eating for your blood type. Now listen, I'm not a doctor. Okay, I only mention it because it was brought to me. I've tried it. It has worked for me. And to a quick summation of it, but you got to do some research, is that essentially based on our blood type, there are certain foods that agree with us and don't agree with us or agree with our body, and they can cause problems. I know for me, something like tomatoes, which you would think, oh, it's tomatoes, it's healthy, right? Not a problem. If I eat too much damn tomatoes, I'm going to mess myself up. Like I'll break out in rashes. I'll have all kinds of problems. It does not agree with my body, all right? When we don't realize how much we're putting into our system that now affects our mood, affects our sleep, affects our focus and clarity, then all of those things start to contribute to you being cranky, negative. It just snowballs from there. So really examining how you're eating, how you're taking care of yourself physically, sleep, water, all these things, you want to do a better job in those areas. When it comes to your health emotionally, that's about healing. That's about getting the book Love After Heartbreak, all right? Making sure you flush out that negative emotional energy, releasing that emotional trauma, really changing your mindset with how you think, rejecting negative thoughts, rejecting things that pull you into an unhealthy mindset, and managing things like the TV that you're watching, the sites you're going on the internet, the music you're listening to. All these things can impact you from an emotional level as well as a mental level, all right? And so you want to really look into and evaluate those things and start removing them and increasing your health in that area. And then spiritually, which all those things, the food, the music, all of that also impacts you spiritually. But getting things to help balance that out, all right? Maybe it's reading more scripture. Maybe it's watching more sermons online. Maybe it's reading books on spirituality, prayer and meditation. Whatever route you're going to take that's comfortable for you right now is fine. Just start implementing something. And again, increase your health in all those areas. And so all you're doing is becoming a better version of you, a better, healthier version of you, which again, works to your benefit first and foremost, but yes, it increases your ability to receive, maintain a healthy, loving relationship with an amazing partner, all right? So you want to consider all these things. And listen, I just feel the need to say this. You have to understand that a great life takes work. That's the bottom line. I know some of y'all might be thinking, man, damn, this is too much. Like, well, I don't want to do all this. Why I got to do all that? Listen, a great life takes work, but it's work that is worth it. All right? So don't reject it. And maybe you can't do everything in this video right away, but start tackling the little things here and there. Start identifying what you can make immediate changes with, and just start on that path as soon as possible and build yourself up to doing all these things eventually. Again, none of us will be perfect. We're going to fall off sometimes and make our mistakes, but it's all about you fall down, you get back up, and you keep going. and you keep pushing forward, all right? And now last but not least, start putting your faith in God, all right? So essentially, you know, all these things that we talked about are going to help you in your growth, in becoming a better you. But again, me as a man of God, I firmly believe in strengthening your relationship with God as a foundational piece to getting yourself in the proper alignment, because the reality is that with God, you'll be able to find your purpose easier. With God, I believe you're going to be able to find your peace and happiness easier. You're going to be able to align yourself with the right people easier because you have God at the forefront. And what that means to me, that I feel the need to convey to you, it's not about the religion of it all right? It's about the relationship. It's about you praying. It's about you seeking God's guidance. It's about you learning to connect with your spirit more. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not about all the other people and what they say you got to do and this, that, and the other. No, it's just get closer to God. And one thing I'll mention, because I actually just recently did it, and I've done it in the past, is fasting, all right? I was going through some stuff a month ago. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I was going through, while I was doing all these videos, I was going through some stuff, okay? And I was not in a great place mentally and emotionally. And I was battling. And so thanks to a friend who kind of reminded me, like, hey, man, why don't you go on a fast? And I said, you know what? You're right. I haven't done that in a while. And I went 3 days, no food, just water. Best thing again, whenever I do a fast, to me, is like the best thing I ever did. And once again, it was great. It helped me. It really got me back into proper alignment. It shook some things loose. I definitely connected more. There were some things revealed to me spiritually in those 3 days. So now I have greater clarity on my life, my direction. So much was gained from those 3 days. All right. And so again, because, you know, I don't want you guys to hear this and jump right into trying to fast for 3 days and you never even done a day before, but look into it. Consider it. You know, maybe you start off with just a slot of hours. Maybe you work yourself up to 24 hours, you know, but also do your research. Also depends on what your medical conditions are, what may be acceptable for you, or things maybe you shouldn't try just yet, depending on where you are. Always consult with your doctors or whatever. But it is, in my experience, an extremely powerful tool to connect with God, to grow stronger faith in God, to get in proper alignment with your spirit even more. And I think it's a huge benefit to what you need to start doing right now, rather than looking for him, looking for that guy. He will come when you find you. He will come when you become who God created you to be. And you will be able to have something amazing with him because you are where you need to be in life. So let that be your focus and watch the benefits and the blessings start to rain upon you. All right. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. So I know for a lot of you, the belief is that men are confusing as hell. and men are complicated, and men are difficult. And for some of y'all, you may have gotten to a point where you feel like men aren't even worth dealing with. And I want